I think that we'll end up going live on the other platforms, but go ahead and push it, Zach.
Yeah. All right. Hello, everybody.
It says that we're live on YouTube.
Does it? Well, that's working so well.
Okay, we're live. Hey, everybody.
Okay, hi.
We're gonna figure out the live one of these days when we actually go live.
Yeah, we are. Oh, look at that.
Fabulous. So, usually David would be here, David Lynch. Today he's not here. Something happened to his face. We'll reveal the truth later in this live stream. We'll also talk about iOS 16.3, some exciting tech news that we saw just recently, and Siri and OpenAI. Maybe you've heard of ChatGPT, but we're going to get to a lot today. And the first thing we were going to talk about is some of the most recent news. David, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so iOS 16.3, the first beta went out to developers a little while ago, and unfortunately this time of year, the iOS updates are pretty slow because of all the holidays. So we've been stuck on iOS 16.3 developer beta 1 for a while now, but there is a pretty significant security feature that they've started working in to this update, and it's physical security keys.
And Zach, are you ready for that Blue-key video?
I sure am.
So Zach is going to give us a little blast from the past. It's about a minute. This is a project I worked on in 2015. And before we get to these actual keys, enjoy. Zach, there's no sound for the people.
Passwords really difficult.
Now there is.
Those of us who are tech savvy started using password managers, but if someone figures out your one password, they've got all of them.
And then what? We turn on the news, and company after company is being hacked and leaking our passwords all over the internet. At this
All right,
point,
Zach, why don't you just play it from the very beginning?
Okay.
Blue-key is real.
And make sure that the
What's the
beautiful
most
viewers can
annoying
actually
thing
hear
about
it.
the internet?
Oh, yeah.
Here's a hint. Can you remember all your passwords?
There's a better way.
Meet Blue-key, the solution to the password problem.
Blue-key is a wireless Bluetooth password key. It's going to make all of our lives a whole lot easier.
Blue-key remembers all your usernames and passwords, so you don't.
Colin.
And Blue-key makes it next to impossible for hackers to steal your information. Hi, I'm Kevin.
I'm David.
I'm Colin.
Kevin's my
Let's
best friend
face
from
it,
high school.
Having to remember different usernames and passwords for every website you belong to is next to impossible.
It used to be easier.
All right.
We all
That's enough,
used the
Zach.
same password.
All right, that's more than enough of that blast from the past. In 2015, we did a Kickstarter for Blue-key. Blue-key was a wireless Bluetooth password key that was supposed to be the solution to the password problem. We launched a Kickstarter, asked to raise $250,000. We raised $4,000. So it failed, but I learned a lot of skills, but it failed. But it was a good idea because finally Apple and Google and YubiKey, and there are some other ones, are coming out with these wireless Bluetooth or NFC password keys that let you log in and out of your accounts without having to remember passwords. So that's some of the news about iOS 16.3 is that they're finally supporting these security keys.
And what does that mean for you? It means you'll be able to give your Apple ID and iCloud accounts extra protection with physical security keys. Pretty neat. I think Blue-key was just like the Google Glasses, years ahead of its time, and just wasn't the right moment.
Without the funding.
Monster.
Yeah, so Zach, would you show my laptop screen real quick? This was the Blue-key thing. And also you're going to have to... David's kind of in the way. What else is new? I'm just kidding. Okay, Blue-key was the solution to the password problem. So what does it look like now? This is the Google Titan security key. There's an NFC version and another NFC version with a fingerprint sensor, USB-C, and then another one that's out is YubiKey 5CI, which also has another security sensor. And what's interesting about this one that you can see is that it has a Lightning port adapter and also a USB-C port for a computer. So some of them are totally wireless. Zach, you can go back. Some of them are only somewhat wireless. David. Could bring back David, too. There he is. But I think it's a really good idea because who can remember all their passwords? Nobody. I think
That's
passwords.
what iCloud Keychain is for.
Yeah, exactly. iCloud Keychain is for that, but my iPhone constantly tells me that I have about 1 billion passwords that are compromised and need to be reset, like 1,000. Actually, 1,000. It thinks that I should go back and reset. I'm not going to do that. It would take years. By the time I did it, the company, would have already leaked it again.
No, go ahead.
No, that's it.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say, iOS 16.3, when we were making our last video, we noticed there was a new system service for the satellite connectivity. And we'll hold our position of leave that on because we don't want to be responsible for letting people die. So,
yeah, we set the bar high here at Pay It Forward.
Sure do.
Anything short of killing you, we're okay with that. So, next up in our potential news, and David found this one, Dynamic Island, obviously a feature of the bless you, Zach, an iPhone 14 Pro. Sorry about the crinkling on the mics here. iPhone 14 Pro feature, Dynamic Island. Has there been burn-in? David, what did you find?
Well, I saw on Twitter, it went, relatively viral for iPhone Twitter anyway. It's, the pretty niche space on Twitter. But this person, they got their display repaired because they said they had screen burn-in. I don't know if we've got that picture on the screen right now, but I was kind of shocked by it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can actually pull up that tweet. But Zach, would you show the picture that I made of it? Yeah, so if you see in the very top of the screen on the right and left side of the Dynamic Island, there's a little bar. Now, that's my phone. Is that a real picture, or did I Photoshop it? I Photoshopped it, just like this guy did, in my opinion. I think this story is total BS. The idea of burn-in is that something stays on your screen for so long that it burns an image into the screen. It used to happen very often on CRT TVs or old school TVs. It rarely happens on OLED displays, especially after the phone has been out for just a couple of months. I think this is fake news, David.
I think it's fake news. Well, I think it's a long way to go for it to be fake, to go to the Apple Store. They have a receipt.
I know they have a fake receipt, too. I could have done that as well.
It's easy to fake receipts these days. The thing that I was noticed, though, is that when I was playing around with always-on display is that when you have all your always-on display switches on, the notch is there and it is prominent, and it is a little bit wider because it has the little lock icon. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to call him a liar on stream. It seemed legit. And I also found that Reddit post, too, where somebody was kind of, watch out for this screen burn-in with the Dynamic Island. So
I know, but what they're showing, David, and the reason I really think it's fake is they're not showing burn-in. They're showing this sort of burn-out phenomenon, which is that the part of the screen is darker than the other part of the screen, which is like the opposite of burn-in. You can't burn in if there's nothing on the screen. You can't burn in black.
Is it black or is it like a Apple fancy? I don't know.
Well, I think we should just take a closer look at that real quick.
Well, what we can also do is poll the chat and let the people decide whether or not it's
Zach,
legit.
Let's poll the chat and say, is this legit or is this not legit? And I will pull up the tweet.
Yeah.
All right. So it's on Twitter the other day. And Zach, you can also switch to my laptop screen, please. So this is what we saw. Legit or fake? So the idea is that Dynamic Island somehow, even though it doesn't extend this far ever, also burned in the screen by...
Well, now I'm leaning more towards fake because that battery icon looks a little funky. I don't know if that's one of the lock screen settings you can change, but...
I mean, I made
a little round.
Yeah, it's no good. It's totally fake. I'll just show you my version of it. So, oops, that's the wrong thing. That's our thumbnail for today. Where's my fake burn-in document that I made? This is not as organized as I would have hoped. But he also, as David said, had a fake receipt here from the Apple Store. iPhone 14 Pro Max, estimated pickup time. Customer states there's no SIM spots, that there is SIM spots no ear the... Well, that's the type of grammar that would be indicative of an Apple Store employee.
I think I might have got duped here.
I just don't think that this is a real deal thing.
Well, it's also a learning moment for people in the chat. If you ever get an email from Apple saying something's gone wrong, really take a close look at it, because it's pretty easy to spot bad.
Yeah, for instance, receipts. Let's use the Apple Support app on one of you Apple devices. Lowercase. I mean, it's possible maybe Apple forgot to capitalize the A, but all it takes is like a nice little Photoshop job and a fake receipt, and you're all set to fool David Lynch. So what will he fall for next, ladies and gentlemen?
I know. Well, I saw it on another tech YouTuber retweeted it and was taking it seriously too. So.
Of course they were, but they, So this is how I did it. I just put a picture in Photoshop and, added a little rectangle up there. And there you go.
Well, we've got our next video topic. iPhone 14 Pro screen burn-in, fake news.
Well, I think you and the other person were the only people who believed it, but perhaps maybe it is. All right, I'm done insulting David. He's had a rough week, and maybe your judgment was impaired by your violent encounter.
Well, I thought that looked interesting, and there we go. It turned into a nice little debate, so it worked out.
Yeah, so what did the chat say?
Everyone is saying fake. Wow.
Well, I think that, you don't have... it is fake 90%. It's a fake. Yep.
That'll be our new thing, the fake news segment of the week.
I think that's good. Is it fake or is it not? Because there are plenty of them that are just as ridiculous that are not fake. Like Bendgate. The iPhone 6s they bent.
Yeah.
Right. And our next news article that we were going to talk about was this MacGyver solution, David, right?
Yes, so I saw this Reddit thread. We put out a video recently, how to clear system data on iPhone. A lot of really good, actionable tips in that video. I was browsing the iPhone subreddit, and I found here's the correct way to remove system data on iPhone. I was thinking to myself, changing the date and time settings, jumping through all these hoops, that doesn't seem legit to me, but I thought it would make sense to try it out and see what happened.
I think that does make sense. And the reasoning makes sense to me, that caches on the phone are linked to the specific date and they expire just like web caches expire after a certain date. So, Zach, let's switch to the side cam and show people this beautiful view of my iPhone. So this is iPhone storage, and I'm going to leave it right where it is so I don't defocus it, Zach. So at the bottom here, we have system data, and it's calculating, and in a second, we'll know how much system data is being used, how much system data is using, how much space system data is using on my iPhone. Hopefully. So David found a Reddit thread, and hopefully this works quickly. I'm just going to pull that up on my computer.
In the meantime, while he's pulling that up, I want to give this video a thumbs up. Thumbs up is the screen burn and fake. Thumbs down if you think it's real, and that should give us a good like to dislike ratio.
Or just hit the thumbs up button. Either way. Yeah.
We need Jeopardy music for this type of
yeah,
waiting.
We do. Yeah, this is the type of thing that... Oh, now it's 0 KB.
Wow.
Which is totally not real. Perhaps we should come back to this one, David.
All right, we'll skip it for now. Let's move on to the T-Mobile class action lawsuit. If you're a T-Mobile customer, you've got about 2 weeks to, file your claim because, oops, T-Mobile leaked the data of about 75 million subscribers, and you're going to get a nice little cash payment of, I think it was $100. It's really not that impressive. I think it's kind of class action lawsuits are almost scams where they're just you could pay everyone a really small fine, and is that going to help you protect your privacy? Probably not.
No.
So
the lawyers are the ones who make out.
Yeah.
I actually in class action lawsuit land, received the email for the class action lawsuit about the Mac with the butterfly keyboard that I had replaced 3 times. I had to provide some documentation. But I had all of the repair orders in my email, all 3 of them. And it's still a little funky. The keyboard still isn't 100% fixed. And last time I got it back, there were some issues with the USB on the side. And I think I may get $400.
That's a
from
good
that
win.
Class action lawsuit.
Yeah. Buy yourself a nice Bluetooth keyboard with that kind of money.
Yeah. Or 2. So this iPhone storage thing, I don't want this to derail our stream. So,
well, if you are a T-Mobile customer, go to tmobilesettlement.com, fill out the form, see if you're eligible to receive up to $100 because that is how much your data is worth according to the courts and the
powers that
the powers that be.
That be, yeah. So shall we go to the featured Discord questions, perhaps?
Let's fire them up.
Zek. All right, Zek has actually got his own camera today.
I sure do.
That's Zek. He's our video editor.
So, what are you guys feeling? Which should we start with?
How about the first one?
All right. So we have. I'm going from the order that I put them in yesterday. So our first question's from Jakey. They ask, why is Siri so poor in comparison to the Google and Alexa assistants? Apple can surely invest in improvements, can't they? What do you guys think?
I think they can. Don't call me
yeah.
Shirley. Go ahead, David. Yeah.
Well, I think it kind of has the reason that Siri is so bad. I think one of the main reasons is that Apple puts a lot of privacy restrictions on what they can actually access with your Siri voice searches. So with all those layers of protection, it makes it harder to input data to improve Siri. We kind of talked about them in the iPhone was listening to me, but Siri is a lot more privacy focused than Alexa and Hey Google. Particularly with Alexa, Amazon can use your Alexa voice searches to form a marketing profile about you to deliver you better products and ads. So, I mean, if Apple just got rid of all those privacy restrictions that they've imposed upon themselves, maybe Siri would get a little bit better. But that's just the way it is for now. And I think Apple is less focused on Siri and more focused on their iPhones and cameras and microchips and VR headsets, and they just don't seem that focused on making Siri a really high quality Apple product.
I think I would take issue first with the idea that it's worse than Alexa, because I was at a friend's father's house over the weekend, and he's an Alexa guy, and let me tell you, that stinks. Like, it was awful. It was really bad. And obviously it has to do with the devices, but he had a bunch of Amazon Echo Dot devices around the house. And the integration with lights and just sort of butting into our conversations and then not understanding context at all, that was much worse at his place than it is here with the HomePod. And
well, I feel like Alexa is designed to not necessarily be a good source of information. I think it's geared towards getting you to quickly and easily buy products from Amazon. So unless you're doing that, I don't know how good Alexa's going to be for you.
That's for sure. I agree with that. However, Google, with OK Google, I mean, I don't think that it's extremely debatable that that's better than Siri in a lot of ways, in terms of the way it answers your questions. Also, the voice recognition is excellent. Google invests more heavily and is a third-party reseller of cloud services, which is how that all that stuff works. And they've just put a lot more money into it, and I think they have more resources, at least more invest. I mean, Apple obviously could invest as much as Google does in it, but I think Google does more of that because they see more of a direct link to business bottom line than Apple does with Siri. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, David. And I was just going to transition into the OpenAI stuff, if I may.
Go for it, yeah.
Yeah. So OpenAI is, you may have heard of ChatGPT in the past. They also have a voice, or they don't have a voice assistant, but I made one using the Shortcuts app on my iPhone. So this is called DaVinci. It runs some code in the background. Hey, Da Vinci, how are you today? Oh, this is not going to work for me right now? All right. This live stream is coming off without a hitch. Can you play chess with me?
Sure. Why not? Let's play.
E4. Not B4, E4. Boy, this is riveting content.
Well, why don't we move right on to Discord question number 2, Zach? What do we got?
See, we like to leave room for improvement in our live streams.
Yeah.
So far, we're leaving ourselves that.
There's only so much you can do with the servers. I know they're getting hammered right now. Nikita's been waiting anxiously to have their question answered.
Patiently.
And I will oblige.
Yeah.
Please explain how a VPN works. Those of us are addicted to our iPads. Should we use them? Can you use one on an iPad? Which would you recommend? Are they battery drainers? She is open to getting an iPhone 14 Pro Max. What should you do? Turn off cellular data? We're going to stick to the first part of your question about VPNs. All right, I'm going to leave it to the Davids. What do you guys...
VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. The idea is that whenever your iPhone connects to a website, if this is my home, and then the website is the website can see where the traffic is coming from. And my home has an IP address. I connect to the website. They can see who I am because they get that log. Because they have to know where to send the data back to. If they didn't know who I was, they wouldn't have anywhere to send the data. So what a VPN does is it puts a middleman in between me and the website. So I go to VPN server, whatever it is, and then they send my internet request to the website. And then the website sends it back to that VPN server, and they send it back to me. But the benefit of that is that the website gets to only see that first connection backwards, that first VPN server. And that's why it's a virtual private network. They came from the days when companies needed, and it's still a thing, of course, but a lot of people use VPNs at work to connect to hard drives and printers behind a firewall that they can't access from the public internet. It's just another layer of security, but then these companies figured out that, we can just sell this to people because it also increases their privacy online. First off, they're not perfect. To break down your questions, should you use one if you're using an iPad? There's always a cost of using a VPN, Even the ones that you pay for are necessarily going to introduce a little bit of lag to your connection because there's a relay. So the ones that you pay for, like NordVPN, are typically faster and don't have those. Also, Cloudflare Warp is a fabulous pseudo VPN. iCloud Private Relay is a pseudo VPN, but Cloudflare Warp, it really is a real VPN that you can download and use on your iPad. I think that if you want to try one out, try out Cloudflare. It's free, it's fast. You could download the Cloudflare Warp app from the App Store and just type in 1.1.1.1 or Cloudflare to the App Store search and you'll find it. And are they battery drainers? No, not really, because all it's doing is adding one extra request in the line there. It's sending your internet traffic to one server instead of just directly to this server, but either way, all your iPhone is doing is sending one request. But because the whole transaction takes a little bit longer, it's going to use a little bit more battery, but probably not any more than you would notice. So only if you're doing stuff illegal online. So, I mean, not necessarily illegal, but only if you're doing things that really need to be protected. Mm. David, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you are someone who is often connecting to public Wi-Fi networks that are unprotected, then maybe a VPN might be a good idea for those situations. Do you want to talk about the difference between choosing a VPN provider that's located in the U.S. versus located in an overseas country?
We could. I mean, the VPNs that are located in the U.S., basically you want to get a VPN that can't be subpoenaed by law enforcement in your country if you're doing stuff that's not good online, right? Is that what you're going? Where you going?
Yeah,
with this?
yeah. Not that we're suggesting you should do that, but if a theoretical person wanted to do that, maybe.
Yeah, and there are a group of countries called like the Seven Nations or something. I don't know what it is. There's a group of countries that all share data with each other. The U.S. is part of it because they're all friends, and so there's extradition and all that fun stuff. So you got to make sure you grab a country that isn't in great terms with the U.S. to send all your traffic to. Will the U.S. see that you're sending traffic to that country? Yes, but it's just much more difficult. But the VPN provider, as secure as these things are supposed to make us, now the VPN provider has all the dirt on you. So you really have to trust that company because they're the ones that can link you to every single website request. So certain VPN providers have logging and some have no logging. But it all comes down to you trusting them because they can really say anything. But you have to really trust a VPN provider because they're going to see, they're the middleman for all your personal information now. That's why I like Cloudflare. Yes, they're based in the US. If you're not doing anything illegal, they're not going to shut you down. It's also fast. It's also free. I don't think at this point, with the free ones popping up, that it's really worth paying for a paid plan unless you need to skirt around law enforcement or something.
Yeah, you did mention iCloud Private Relay earlier, and I would just say don't use that one as long as it's in beta. Wait till it's out of beta because it's still not. It breaks a lot of websites.
Indeed, and other VPNs can as well. iCloud Private Relay just seems to have a special talent for it, I think. Oh, yeah. But a lot of websites need to know where you are using your IP address, or else they won't work because of laws. Like you can't do things in one state or another state. There were certain websites that are now blocked in Louisiana that used to not be.
We also have an article on
driver's license. Yeah, sorry.
We have an article on payitforward.com. I think it's titled like VPN on iPhone, which it's a lot of words that'll explain pretty much everything you need to know about a VPN. So if you just go to payitforward.com and use the search bar and find VPN on iPhone, you'll get any VPN information you need from that article.
Yeah. Okay, that's enough of VPNs for now. Zach, what's next?
Next question is from, if I mess up your name, it's because I can't read it as abbreviated.
It's because he doesn't like you. Okay, what's next?
No, it's Shallow Fry Chocolate, who is a channel member.
Yeah.
Shoutouts to them. Does Apple work on camera software improvements through iOS updates after an iPhone is launched?
Yes, absolutely they do. In fact, in the past, they've launched iPhones with features that don't exist yet and then updated them in later versions of iOS. Like they'll roll it out in iOS. I forgot what it was. It was Portrait Mode, I think, was one that was announced, but didn't actually come with the phone that they said it was announced with. It came out in an iOS update in 16 or whatever version that was, David. It was a few years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's also true for pretty much any native iOS app, that Apple's always working on improvements, and the only way to get those improvements is to update the version of iOS on your iPhone. I will say, though, that Apple puts a lot of effort into their cameras in between product launches, so I think they really want it to be a really solid camera when it launches because they spend so much time at their Apple events talking about how great the camera is, and if it ships with buggy software or missing feature, it's going to cause some controversy. So it might not be as big of improvements on camera as it is in some other iOS native apps, but they do, yes.
Yeah, and I think what you're keying in on is the importance of camera software, so good for you, because the camera software on an iPhone versus an Android versus a Pixel, that's really what makes the difference in photo quality, at least as much on a phone like this as the quality of the sensor itself. So they say garbage in, garbage out, but if you were to look at what actually goes into these tiny little phone sensors, it's pretty garbage. It's not as much as it used to be, but Apple has an amazing ability to clean that up and make good-looking photos with software. So good for you. I forget the name, but good for you.
Name was Shadow Fry Chocolate.
Way to go, Shadow Fry Chocolate.
Next question?
A delicious question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So this question's from a Discord regular, Miss DT. Is that how you say it? Miss DT?
We talked about this last time. It's like midst, but the S and the D are reversed.
Gotcha. So their question is, why should I, basically the short version is, why should I, or rather, when should I buy a new iPhone?
You can elaborate, Zach. There's more to the question.
Yeah, there's more to the question.
Or I can
That's
read
all
it
I have
too.
in the graphic.
All right. I still sometimes use an iPhone first gen, and it phones just fine. Nobody who's into malicious hacking iPhones would waste their time hacking remotely into a stone-old iPhone. So isn't that even the safer option? I don't
Not
understand.
necessarily.
Yeah, go ahead, David.
Because so we've seen recently, I think iOS 15.4 had a pretty significant security update for Safari. So the older iPhones just don't get the newer security updates, which could theoretically leave your phone more vulnerable than a brand new iPhone with all the latest security updates. But if you're happy with your old phone and you just need to make phone calls, and that's all you're doing on your phone. So if someone were to hack into it, they wouldn't find anything, I guess you don't need to update. I don't know.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, though, David, they stop updating the phones at all. They stop supporting them.
That's true. Yeah.
So then software vulnerability might be, I wouldn't make government-sensitive phone calls on a first-gen iPhone, but...
Well, I think the government probably issues you a phone that you can use then.
Yeah, I would hope so.
They say you can't use the iPhone first gen, but I don't know. Maybe they don't.
Yeah. I don't really worry too much about that stuff. So I guess the question is, should you buy a new iPhone because they're more secure than the older ones? And the answer is usually no.
The other thing you might want to consider too, if you want to hold on to your old iPhone, but you want the newest security updates, you don't care that much about upgrading, just keep your old phone until it runs out of iOS updates, upgrade to the new one, and then use that until it runs out of iOS updates, which is going to be 5, 6, 7 years. So you'll be covered for a while.
Yeah, or every year you can upgrade your phone to the 5-year-old model. So it's kind of like the upgrade program, but it'd be a lot cheaper.
It'd be a lot cheaper, and your phone might be very slow.
I got the new phone. It's 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years too late. Anyway, you'll be fine. All right, what's next? My system data is still loading, for the record. So that section of this video is a bust.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, that's great. We can talk about the Discord game. Kind of hopping around here, unless you have a clear idea of the next.
Yeah,
segment.
well, we just answer a lot of Discord questions. You can join our Discord by clicking the link in the description section of this video. It's the big text section below the subscribe button. If you want to click that on your way down too, we would appreciate that. But Zach just set up a brand new game in the Discord, and it's actually been really popular in there. And I checked my Discord notifications today, and it's just like everything is blowing up in the Discord right now.
I know.
So Zach,
great.
you want to walk people through the game that we've set up?
Yeah, sure.
And let's you can just hop over to my screen too, or
Yeah.
unless you want to set it up.
I'll set it up. I'll turn this off too while I'm at it. So the Discord game essentially is I used to run a server that had this little game, and it came to me a couple of weeks ago. I was like, well, I want to bring something to the Discord that would kind of incentivize people to have some fun and do some stuff in it. So what we did is we set up a little game here that it's kind of addicting in a sense. It's kind of like a little text adventure economy sort of thing. Each week we have events that we're planning out, doing some stuff. You can use the money to buy things for the Discord, or if you make 1 million of the currency we have actual digital prizes like an Amazon gift card. $100 could be yours if you join the Discord, play the game. It's fun. So David, why don't you show off?
That was a great
explanation.
Next time we'll talk about the explanations beforehand.
Yeah.
It's very clear. So what it is a Discord bot. If you hit the / button on Discord, you can see this Unbelievable is the name of the game. And then you can scroll through the things that you can do. So if I do /balance and then just hit there, I can see how much money I have. And if I do /leaderboard, I can see that I am no longer in first place because Science Guy has taken the spot from me. And Zach has
I gotta get in here because last time I checked, I was like number 3. And now I'm not even in the top 10.
Yeah, you're just falling right off the map. You're 19 now, David.
Oh, boy.
Yep. So, and right now is checking his balance. So what you could do is play things like Blackjack, which is a game that I like to lose at. but I could bet 1,000, pay it $4. I don't have enough money for that bet because I put it in the bank. Zek likes to steal your money. So what you could do, I'm going to just take it all out right now. So I got enough now. So blackjack, 1,000. And then, let's see, I've got an ace and a 9. The dealer has an 8. I don't think this is a split. This is definitely a stand. And the dealer won with 21 on my soft 20. That's ridiculous. Blackjack. So then, of course, now I did 200. Jeez. What you do in real life is if you lose, you then just double. Okay, so that's really nice. Mike just tried to rob me in the game. So in blackjack land, I don't even think I have enough money for this to double. That's a drag because that's the perfect double. I won. Okay, so I won my 2,000.
Well,
and then
in
what
real
you
life,
do
when you're at the casino, you chase your losses and just keep doubling until your bank account is empty.
So I'm going to just do deposit all, and now they can't steal from me, which is what Zek did yesterday and took like 5,000 for me. So, I mean, that's the deal. The game is kind of fun. There are other little games that you can play. There's roulette. There's slots. There's all sorts of fun stuff. And then these are linked to little items that you can buy. And Zek, can you explain the whole AirPods thing?
Yeah, so right now we're doing a community event. Each week we'll have a new one. It has a different theme, different goals. But this week, essentially, is the AirPods factory has gone bust. And all the AirPods, they're just getting rid of AirPods. And the goal is, in the shop, you can buy AirPods. They're broken AirPods, but you can buy broken AirPods for 100 coins. And at the end of the week, or in a week's time, at noon next Tuesday, we will be seeing in the community who has the most of these AirPods that they buy. So far, I think Science Guy has the most. They had a goal and they were set and they started buying them up. But you just buy as many as you possibly can, and at the end of the week, you'll buy them, or we'll count them, see who has the most, and the winner will get 25K in these coins and reimburse twice of what you paid in game for these coins, or for these AirPods. And that's pretty much it. That's the event.
So
and
I'll buy 30 of these things. Bang.
But like, I've already got plans for what next week's
one.
is. We've got new items in the works. Just a lot of cool stuff. But as you can see, it can get addicting quick. It's just a little text adventure, but
All right. Yeah,
numbers
exactly.
go up.
Sorry, I got a little distracted there with buying these things. It's B just figured it out.
Can we also just explain real quick how you can earn the currency?
Right. Zach?
What's up?
Hi.
I missed that whole thing.
We're a finely tuned machine over here. How do you earn the currency, Zach?
How do you earn the currency? Well, you got to join the Discord and just participate, and you get coins for just, typing in chat, saying hi, asking the live stream questions, or you could do these commands like what Science Guy is doing in here, like exclamation point work.
Yep.
And exclamation point crime. And work is a safe bet. Crime is not. Obviously, David just bought an iPhone SE and lost 2K, so
yeah, that wasn't good.
It's a bit rough, but you could do stuff like that, and there will be more opportunities to make more. But right now, those are the quick and easy ones.
Okay, so also if you're a channel member, you automatically get money.
Yes.
So that's one of the channel member perks.
That is a new channel member perk.
Absolutely.
You get roll income every 6 hours if you are a channel member.
Right. Passive income.
Yeah, passive. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh, look at Bean just totally nailed it.
Wow.
Found the secret blueprints for the iPhone 20. It's crazy.
Yeah, we wrote our own little prompts and everything.
Yeah,
so.
and we're going to continue doing that.
Yeah, join the Discord.
Join the Discord. Join the channel. You can click that join button below the video. We'd really appreciate it. It helps us out.
Yeah.
So there is one thing that we haven't talked about yet, aside from all the other things, and that is David's face.
Oh, yeah.
David.
Well, I was walking to the gym the other day wearing my shoes that I shouldn't have been wearing. They weren't winter shoes. Slipped on the ice. Landed eyebrow first. Lacerated my forehead, or my eyebrow, and didn't get to go to the gym that day. Had to call my wife, and she drove me to the emergency room, and I got 5 stitches. And,
jeez. That's what you get for trying to dive into a frozen lake.
I know. Well, it was a frozen sidewalk, apparently.
So you turned, and then you took a header into the ice? It was on a sidewalk?
No, I slipped on my side. Yeah, I slipped on my left side, and then I had like some adrenaline going, so I had to get a tetanus shot too. I'm like, I'll just get into my left arm. So now my left arm is extra sore. It's just been an interesting 48 hours.
Yeah, because this was, you don't have to do this, David, when you need some time off of work. You can just, let me know.
Yeah.
But no, poor David.
I'm just that committed to the live stream and showing people the new Discord game.
Yeah. And that's why David is amazing.
Yeah. And
shows up.
Well, yeah, we gotta fund me some new slip-on micro spikes for Saranac Lake.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, send David a super chat. If we get enough super chats today, we'll buy David slip-on, what did you call them? Micro spikes?
Micro spikes, yeah. You can get like spikes that you put on any shoes and walk them around.
Interesting.
But no, that I was talking to somebody last night, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I did the same exact thing." So maybe it's the sidewalk's fault, and they need better salting and icing procedures.
Yeah, sounds like a lawsuit, David.
Yeah.
Take that, Village of Saranac Lake.
Yeah. I don't think I'd win that, but
yeah. See, that's the type of guy he is. Not gonna sue you. It's good. But yeah, that stinks, David. I was surprised when I saw your text message the other night. That was concerning. Because you're not just a great employee. I like you too. So I don't like to hear that people I like. I know that's as deep as we go here emotionally. All right, so but I do like the people I work with, which is a plus. Not everybody has that, and I used to not have that. So the iPhone SE 4, David, delayed again.
Yes. Delayed. I think I might have read recently. They might just be totally canceling it. But there is a pretty prominent leaker named Ming-Chi Kuo who said that Apple will likely cancel or postpone the mass production of the iPhone SE 4. He thinks it's due to consistently lower than expected shipments of mid to low end iPhones, like the iPhone SE 3 and the iPhone 14 Plus. And I think we've been pretty consistent in saying that those two phones are among the worst that Apple has ever made.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's just nothing special there. They're rehashes of last year's models, really. And I don't really think that they're that great. I just think that the iPhone SE 3 should have been the iPhone 13 mini. And I hope that the iPhone SE 4 is what the iPhone 14 mini would have been. Because then finally we'll get a phone that actually feels like it was built this decade, unlike
that's what the iPhone SE 4 was probably going to be. It was going to be the mini with no home button, the latest form factor, and looks like Apple missed the boat on that one. Looks like we're not going to get it.
Yeah, but they're not always right. These rumor people, the only people who know really are Apple. I wonder if anybody in the chat actually has a mini model of an iPhone. Zach, can you ask that question? Yeah, you guys are amazing. I'm just looking through the chat real quick. Shall we take a look through the chat, David?
Well, I was going to say we could answer some questions from the chat. We're tentatively calling this the Genius Bar segment, and I wanted to use the South Park clip of the geniuses popping the bubbles. Oh, is it ready? Okay, let's roll that.
What the hell are they doing now? All right.
I mean,
basically, I try to think of like funny clips from TV shows and how I can use them as intros, and that's the basis for all the segments here. It's not like an interesting segment. It's like, what can I get the best intro on? But actually, I want to start with this question from member Nikita, who asked, when I decide to switch to my iPhone 14 Pro Max, should I still turn off cellular data? No, if you plan on using it as a phone, I would don't turn off cellular data.
Well, hopefully he doesn't turn off cellular data all the way right now, right? I decided to switch to my iPhone 14 Pro Max. Do I still turn off cellular data? Yeah, I mean, it depends on how good your... I assume the question is more about 5G coverage, right, David? Like cellular data options?
It could be.
And hey...
We can talk about that, too.
we can actually use the side cam for this one, Zach. So if we go into settings in the phone, and then I was checking, I have a software update. And then in the main page of settings, we go up to cellular, and then there's cellular data options. And if I back up one here, you could just turn off cellular data at the top. That means that your phone will connect to internet if you're on Wi-Fi, but not if you're not. So most people leave that on. And then here, if you have a carrier like Verizon or AT&T, you can just turn on data roaming. That's not really a thing anymore. Then voice and data, I have LTE chosen because I have a really bad really bad 5G signal around here. And LTE is great. It's more than fast enough, so I save battery life and avoid this kind of constant hopping on and off of LTE networks that happens when I have 5G auto on. So it actually makes my phone faster because I'm not constantly dropping connections in the car because it's going from 5G to LTE. Like my music wasn't working because I had 5G on, which makes not a lot of sense, but it's just the way it is right now.
Did we at one point tell the audience to turn off cellular data? So there are a lot of iPhone settings. Like, I think there's like, if you go to settings app store, there's like an app download section. We say turn off cellular data for that. In settings general, background app refresh, just do Wi-Fi only. But I don't think at any point we've recommended turning off cellular data across the board.
Unless they're traveling overseas and don't have a plan for that. That would be the only reason why, is if you don't want to get charged $1 billion overseas. But no.
Is it okay to use my iPhone 13 as a hotspot for my laptop in place of regular Wi-Fi?
I mean, it's okay, but the problem is that depending on how much data you use, you're going to run into your high-speed data cap on your unlimited data plan. And then even unlimited data plans, typically the ones that are really expensive still have high-speed data caps for mobile hotspot, right, David? It's kind of a separate thing.
I think maybe like 40 or 50 gigabytes might be the highest, which it does sound like a lot at first, but if you're doing all of your computer stuff using mobile hotspot, you're going to burn through that data real fast.
Yeah, especially if you're streaming Netflix or something.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. Especially if you're streaming Netflix, like David said. So yeah, I personally would find a way to keep track of how much data you're using each month using your computer. And off the top of my head, I don't know the best way to do that. Also, there are, however, in your wireless router, a lot of the times there'll be some sort of a statistics counter like there is on an iPhone and cellular data where you can have it keep track of how much data is going in and out. But that depends entirely on which router you have. And then do the math. Ask yourself, okay, I used 30 gigabytes of data this month. And if it's only 30, then cool. Switch to an expensive unlimited data plan. But if it's 100 and you want to stream video, you'll be able to do it for the first 2 weeks of the month, and then you'd be out of luck. So most people at this point still can't switch to just mobile hotspot. If only.
Let's see, Mahidar T2. I use a third-party PD charger since the 14 Pro series supports up to 27 watts. I observed the phone getting hot. Is it because of fast charging?
Yep. I mean, well, PD is actually, I mean, if it's a good power delivery charger, but yeah, that would be, if it's getting hot when you're charging it with that charger, it's because of the amperage going into the phone, not necessarily because of the fast charging. So you just have to make sure it supports the Apple power delivery. And Apple has a pretty good, Zach, you can switch to my laptop. Apple has a pretty good website about it. Fast charger iPhone. And I'll just drop this in the chat.
Another charging question. Is it okay to leave my iPhone 14 Pro charged overnight? Yes. We made a video on pretty much all the iPhone charging myths. And we tackle overnight charging, fast charging, wireless charging, trickle charging. We do it all in that video. So I suggest checking that video out for any charging related questions.
It's logical.
Yeah.
What other kinds of charging are there? Charging.
Reverse wireless charging.
Isn't it a penalty in hockey? Charging.
That's an offensive foul in basketball.
That's
I don't
what
know
I
if
meant.
there's a charging. I don't know if there's a charging in hockey.
I don't know either. I knew it was some sort of a foul. That's a charge. I'd hear my dad yelling, "That's a charge."
Yeah.
Or then he flopped. It's a charge. You know, I don't know what it meant. David used to be the captain of his high school basketball team. Great basketball player.
Took a charge or two in my day.
Yeah, were you a center?
Power forward typically.
Forward. Yeah.
The 4.
Mm-hmm. A 4? What?
Yeah, like 4 is power forward. That sometimes you use numbers because these days the positions are getting murkier and murkier. You know.
Mm-hmm.
There's point forwards and it's centers are playing the 1 these days. It's all a mess. These tall guys who can shoot have just ruined the nice basic structure we had at the start.
You're right. Yeah, you as someone who's 6'2" really are at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I know.
If only there was anybody. I mean, at this point, has anybody less than 6'2" ever really made it in the NBA, David?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Yeah. Do you know if Apple will ever let us turn off HDR for photos again?
You can turn it off today for the low price of going into your settings.
Yeah.
Why the heck not? I think you can for photos, or can't you? Is it just videos you could turn it off for?
Let's find out.
Well, I think I just said the wrong thing because I was in there the other day, and we were just talking about saving storage. If I go down to the camera part of settings, tap on that, and then I can go into not formats. I would scroll down to totally know where I'm going here. Because in video, there's this HDR video section, but you're right, yeah. I don't think you can turn it off at this point. Yeah, I have it off right now for video. It saves some data, and that's why. If you're trying to save iPhone storage and you don't care about having that HDR, you'll see that right now 190 megabytes for 4K at 30. If you turn it off, it goes down to 170 megabytes for 1 minute at 4K 30. Which is going to save you some money. But in terms of photos, there's no HDR switch in here.
We got a top chat from member Mike Wheeler, who's been a member for 19 months. Thank you guys for everything you do. And to the ones behind the scenes, also keep up the great work and keep rocking it. Thank you, Mike. I think the one behind the scenes right now is primarily Zach doing the video editing and all the technical stuff with the live stream.
Yeah. Zach, show yourself.
We also have Heather, who does a lot of the moderation for our Facebook group. So give a little shout out to Heather too.
Yeah, it's a different angle of the studio. Zach right now is using the continuity camera on iPhone.
Yes.
And so is David. This is the new feature in iOS 16 and macOS Ventura that lets you use your phone as a webcam. How good does that look?
Yeah, I'm trying to look at my camera, but also read the chat, which is on the left side of my computer. So it's been an interesting back and forth, like a continuity camera stand or something.
I know, and I've got a monitor over here which I keep looking at with David's face on it. And I know that when I watch this video later, I'm gonna just notice that I'm looking right the whole time.
That's all right.
As instead of at you at home, I got to put this thing in the line of sight of the camera, so it looks like I'm reading. A lot of people think, I mean, we script a little bit, and we used to script more our videos, David, but we don't read. We've never read. We're not like the people that you'll see who's kind of like reading the screen. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. We do that for when we're actually quoting a news story because we don't want to misquote the news story, but
yeah.
No, we don't have a teleprompter. I think a teleprompter would be distracting. I've never been a teleprompter person.
No. We do better when we are a little more off the cuff. And it doesn't mean that we just do videos one take through, but we found it to be kind of restricting when we did more scripting. So we stopped it. We do some
Mach
scripting.
5 is asking, will Apple continue to make iPad minis?
I don't know. Probably. As long as people continue to buy them, 100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Belkin adapter for my desktop for the continuity camera just came out. You have it for the desktop? See, we have a Pro Display XDR back there, and they didn't have it the last time I looked, so that's something for me. to buy, 100%. And Mike, thank you for being a member as well. Mike is one of our favorite members who just tried to rob me in the Discord game. But he failed, so we're still good, Mike. And, yeah. 6'2".
Herculeo, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Is it better to charge iPhone between 40 to 80% to enhance battery life? No. The batteries are more intelligent these days. Apple can track your charge cycles for a complete 100%. You can't like charge your iPhone not all the way up to game the system anymore. That used to work, but now the batteries are a bit smarter. Another one of those charging myths that we addressed in that charging myths video.
Mm-hmm. Which iPad has the front-facing camera? A lot of them. I think all of them at this point.
Yeah. I don't mean, some of them might not be very good, but...
You mean the center stage camera? Yeah. Well, my iPad Pro definitely has it. I think the new iPad Air has it too. Is it called center stage, or is that a Yankees? Nope, it is center stage. iPad Air, yeah. All right, I'm right about something. So it works with iPad Air 5th gen, the iPad Pro 12th gen. Zach, by showing my laptop screen, I'm not looking as smart to the people. This is a reenactment of the Genius Bar at the Apple Store. We would just go behind and be like, I'm going to check our system for that one. Google. All right, no, go back to the screen. It's fine, Zach. They know I'm not that smart. Okay. iPad Air, iPad Pro 12.9, iPad Pro 11-inch. So, yeah, they're putting it on pretty much everything now. That's cool. That is cool.
Darren Peel is asking, will Apple make a scratch-resistant screen? You said they did and listened wrongly.
Well,
there's what's this? Ceramic Shield does help reduce the scuffs and scratches on the phone. I don't think a phone manufacturer is ever going to promise 100% this screen can never get scratched, because
unless they make it of diamonds. A diamond screen would never get scratched.
Okay, well, I'm not sure Apple's going to be mass producing diamond screen phones anytime soon. But
Fair.
It could be like a promotional thing. We're going to make 10 diamond screen phones and sell them for $1 bajillion.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I of course. Scratch resistance isn't like a gimmick. It has to do with science and how hard the display is, so...
Yeah, it's the same thing with water resistance too. The phones, you can drop them in your cup of water a couple of times, but over time the water resistance wears down, and you drop it to the bottom of the lake, it's not going to survive.
Rajiv asks, will we get a USB-C port in the iOS 16.3 update? I wish. But unfortunately...
I don't think so. It's
hard to replace a physical component with a software update.
It's coming very soon, though. The EU is really pushing cell phone manufacturers to do USB-C. I wouldn't be surprised if the iPhone 15 is USB-C.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people like Jerry Rig Everything can scratch any material. Indeed. Those are good videos. If you want to see scratch tests, he's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said I did not need a screen protector, and, depending on how you use it, Darren, who seems to be unhappy with us, David...
That's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. We like you, Darren. You still don't, unless you're playing with like volcanic rocks that have a higher hardness than glass. But I'm positive we mentioned all those little caveats in our video. Yeah. Can a phone carrier tell you if your phone is hacked or under surveillance? Probably not.
Well, it depends on what the surveillance is. Like, if you have, call forwarding set up, and you don't know that, your phone carrier could tell you that call forwarding is on and your phone calls are being sent to this number instead of your own number. So it depends on what you mean by, hacked, or, if somebody has installed malware on your phone, probably not. But if somebody's using the built-in methods to phones, like location tracking or call forwarding, potentially they could.
We don't know. Probably not. I wouldn't trust it. And then again, I don't trust most of the phone people I talk to. If you are a talented artist and want to make us merch, We have the worst merch in the world and would love to not have that title anymore. So if you would like to send us some designs, hop in the Discord. We have a whole visual art section. Drop some ideas in there for merch, and then we can put it in our shelf and sell it. And if we choose your design, we will send you free merch with that design, 100%. And why did Mac stop Touch Bar laptops?
Because they were terrible?
They weren't terrible, David. They added the escape key, which I thought made it much better, but I don't miss it, to be honest. Yeah.
I think they probably got some consumer feedback in that it was useless and they'd rather just have the buttons than the touch bar.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, you guys want an audience, but just answer to people who pay. Not a fan of this at all. Yeah. I mean, first off, we are guys. Second off, we do want an audience. That's how money is made and how we buy food, shelter, etc. But just answer to people who pay. That's inaccurate. And you're not a fan of us. That's probably accurate. So we'll give you 1 out of 4 for that one.
Well, question from Joshua Schramm, who also did not pay to have this question answered. Thoughts on side loading coming in iOS 17? I think we talked about that a little bit in our previous live stream.
Yeah.
And I think the consensus was that when Apple is sort of forced to introduce new features they've previously been resistant to,
right,
they tend to not make it all that great. So we talked about the right to repair self-service stuff that Apple made, and they made this really bad website.
Yeah, hop into
with
my
really
yeah.
With really expensive tools, and
Zach, show it.
I don't.
Pay attention, Zach. David's talking about the self-service repair website. I'm sorry, David, which is on my laptop. Please continue.
No, yeah. So when Apple's forced to do things, they say it's like malicious compliance. You will do it, but it won't be as enjoyable as our stuff that we actually want. So I think once the side loading and third-party app stores come to Apple, I think you're obviously going to see some app developers say, we don't want to pay the 30% Apple fee. We're going to go to this third-party app store, and they're just not going to get the same promotion, and they're not going to get the same number of downloads, and I don't think it's going to be a very good experience for people using those third-party app stores, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure that I'm sure that they're going to make it a pain in the butt for developers and find a way to make money anyway. But yeah, it gives the politicians in Europe something to do and a reason to say they're better than ours, which, I'm all for the fairness piece of it, but Apple is sneaky. Sneaky Apple.
And Fuzz, please require artists to not use AI to design artwork. We talked about that a little bit in the last stream too, about how some of the AI image learning algorithms that produce some of the images, the digital artwork you're seeing. It's a gray issue with stealing people's work to teach the algorithm to then create images for free based on that work. I don't know. It's a gray area for sure.
It is. And so, for instance, we've used the AI to generate source images for a couple of our videos. Things that I couldn't create because it's a better artist than I am. Source images for YouTube thumbnails. All of which I've edited heavily because it doesn't really spit out perfect stuff. It spits out stuff with issues. And then, added text and graphics and stuff. But it's pretty amazing. And as a musician, I'm sensitive to the plight of artists, but it's not like I would have been hiring an artist anyway to paint a portrait of some kid looking afraid of an iPhone. Couldn't afford it, don't have the time, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like the AI art is a tool, but I do not see it replacing real artists in practical life. However, if the AI came up with an awesome t-shirt design that people would buy, I'd totally use it. Hate to say it. Right?
Yeah, we could, well, maybe. Harshmag, we had to, Harshmag asks, for 2 years straight, my battery life was staying at 100%, and I never let my iPad go down under 20%, but one time I did, and after that, my battery life shows as 87%. Reason?
Well, I have no idea. One time, everything was great until one time, and then it went down to 87%, you said, David?
Yep.
Forever? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, if you think there was like some major error there, you could try updating the software or restoring your phone. But if you've had your device for 2 years, I think 87% is still pretty solid battery.
Oh no, that's
health.
Great. That's 100% great. If anything, if it went from 100 to 87, you fixed a software problem. Period.
Yeah, or if you're talking about the battery calibration, where now it maxes out at 87%, I think that's probably a DFU restore.
Yeah. Or I think he's probably good though if it's a 2-year-old phone. It says 87%. Hey, so anyway, let's wrap this stream up. Thank you so much for watching. Zach, thank you. David, feel better.
Yeah.
Join
I'll
me in
do
wishing,
my best. I gotta get some ice.
Say